welcome to another live Pittsburgh Sports Line in the BPTV studios right here in Bethel Park. Thank you for watching our show. I appreciate that. I'm Al Levine, the talking machine. We got Smokin' Jim Frazier, Chip Hayner, Nick Callis, and we're here to talk some sports. And sorry, we're on a live show. I got to turn my sound on. And thanks to Chip Snyder watching. Thanks to Bill Means. Thanks to Anthony Veltri for watching and liking. And in the control room. So we got all that going on. And I got some promotions to do here like I do each week. Olive Oil's Pizzeria was closed tonight. Something about Smokin' Jim, but I don't know what they meant by it. We talked off air about it, and he's happy with that. We end each show. Let me move this out of the way here. We got Ryan on the camera. Check this out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Bam.
Look at that.
Bam.
We end each show, Stay Joey Strong. That's Joey Fabus. Before he had DIPG, the brain cancer that killed him at 8 years old, just before his 9th birthday. Below that is the picture with him with DIPG. The family, I just saw him on Community Day. They had a great booth there. Cindy was there manning it, and Dave came late. They've raised over $100,000 to give to doctors to find a cure for DIPG. I talked to the one doctor, and they're at Children's. He says there could be some type of cure or some type of treatment coming up within the next few years. So you talk about hope and a family that suffered 2 kids that died trying to raise money. So go to Joey Fabus Childhood Cancer Foundation. Give him at least $1. All right, next up, Bethel Park Historical Society, Schoolhouse Arts and History Center. Smokin' Jim knows it because he goes by there after he goes to Pasta 2, 2600 South Park Road. They have a great red trolley right in front. They have about a 16-foot skeleton, and the eyes light up. The trolley has skeletons all over. Julie and Matt of my favorite tea house, Reginald's Coffee, decorated the whole outside with a Halloween scene. You have to check it out. Smokin' Jim was so busy eating his meal coming here, he missed all that. And it's only like 7 minutes away, and half his meal is gone. We'll find out later when he starts to eat. But check out the Bethel Park Historical Society, and you can donate money. They have events coming up. Matter of fact, next Saturday, they're having an open house, and guess what? I'm going to be with some volunteers filming the Bethel Park Historical Society's open house at 10 o'clock in the morning. Then we're going across the street to the firehouse. So I'll be interviewing people at both places, and we'll be checking out what the fire department does with different activities. They may even let me hold a fire hose or something else there, and we'll see what happens. It'll all be live. We'll film it as live, and then we'll come up with the show. So check that out this Saturday. All right, let's get this going here. Whoop, sorry, I had to flip it around. I was reading it. Always be smiling. Poor Bennett had 2 transplants. His father, Dean, gave him a kidney, and he had a kidney before. He died at 16 and a half. And due to other complications, he was always smiling. His name was Bennett. His great mother, Kristen, and great father, Dean, started Always Be Smiling to honor people going through kidney disease issues, and they get donations. It's a 501c3. I tried to teach Smokin' Jim about nonprofits when you're trying to do things to help other people. You don't just put the cash or Bitcoin in your pocket. But these are things we debate besides sports, but we're trying to honor people like this, and they're doing great things in our community. Now, I'm going a little on a tangent here. There's this great new group. It's a business here right on Broughton Road, right at the corner across from Walgreens. You can't miss it. It's across the street, catty corner, and it's called Senior Helpers. and you can see they help seniors. They could even help you. If some of you older people that watch our show and you need help and your families need help, you can give them a call, 412-851-3223. They're a new business. I just became friends with the owner. And tell them Al Levine, the talking machine, said, call Senior Helpers. And they're doing great things in the community all over the South Hills and other areas. They're providing caretakers to take care of older people having problems. And they're a very good group. Next up, a shout out to Kathleen Miller. She needs a kidney transplant. She has a donor officially, and there's somebody going to be donating a kidney.
Amen.
And she thanked me for putting it out there. I can't take all the credit, but at least if other people found out, like my son's a great living donor and I'm doing well, same thing can happen to her when her kidney function goes down to what my level was, 15%. And she's at 16% now, so it could be sometime next year. So we'll get updates from that. And I asked her if she'd go to lunch with me, and she said, let me know when. So in the next couple of weeks, I'll give you an update when I meet Kathleen in person.
That's great.
Thank you, thank you. All right, the Bethel Park Community Foundation has money for all of you, and I'm not picking on Smokin' Jim, but he gambles every day, so except for Smokin' Jim. If you're doing good things in Bethel Park, they have $100 to $5,000. And that's not a winning laugh from Smokin' Jim. That's a losing laugh because we won't talk Pirates right now. But they have money for you. Go to bpcf.org and look at that picture that Ryan did. My yellow's a little distracting there, but he still did a good job. And you can get their money. We just had a trustee meeting last week, and we designated some money for a couple other groups. So check it out. Next up, this is that news sheet that Nick gave me because Anthony A1 gave it to him, right? I got the story straight.
Dave gave it to me, actually, but...
Oh, okay. Then I cut Anthony out, and Anthony got in here and handed it to me. Thank you.
Yeah.
We needed that clarification. It's live TV, so anything like that can happen. We'll get to sports shortly. I want you for BPTV. You can be like A2, Ryan, Nick, A1 in there doing whatever Smokin' Jim says he does.
Without a hair out of place.
Thank you, Chip. We needed that teamwork. And you can call 412-831-3304 and just say you saw Pittsburgh Sportsline and you want to help out. All right. Now we got the test for Ryan. We'll get there in a
Look at that.
second.
He's got his finger on the trigger.
Okay, there's
He's got
two.
the zoom lens going.
There's two tests I got to do. One will be the card, but this one's a special one.
Ooh.
This is one of my favorite honeys. I just got it at the farmer's market today. Chip actually bought this off of me. They gave me a discount. He got the discounted price, and he's taking this home to his wife. Swope's honey. I found about it 2 years ago.
I'll buy some honey.
You don't even know what it is.
You
You
gotta
don't-
have the money first.
You don't even, I know he don't have money after he went
You get
broke
the
on his
money, you
events,
get
so. Okay, but Swope's honey, I tested it and tasted it 2 years ago. I was drinking my green tea there, and they said this guy, I should meet him because they were crowded. And he goes, Matt goes, this guy talks more than you do. And sure enough, he did. And I told him I liked honey, and he ended up saying he'd get me some honey. Here, he gave it to me free a couple weeks later. And just this past year, BPTV had the Swopes farm on. Ron and Kathy were at the farm and showed it there. They offered me to come to Avella, they're in Avella, and to see their operation. So I got an open invite to go there and get a tour. But the honey's great. I take a tablespoon each day, even add it to different things, and I recommend it. Today was the last day of the farmer's market, so I snuck in and got my winter supply. And now Chip got one for him and Stephanie. All right, another little promotion. This is promotion night. We'll see what we do here. What's Ryan going to do on this? And that was great on the honey. Thank you, Ryan. I think Ryan said yes. He doesn't say much, but. Oh my goodness, look at that behind the yellow and my logo there. It's Focus, 6103 Library Road, Skeets Service Station, owned by our friend Skeets Lewandowski. You can give them a call, 724-348-4715. They work on anything and everything that runs on gas. They work on electronic things, and they just have a great service station, and you never know, they have a little smorgasbord every Monday. Sometimes it's things I can eat, sometimes it's things I can't eat. So we won't get into that. You can talk to Smokin' Jim, but they just did my oil change, fast and efficient. So check them out. Again, 724-348-4715. And they sponsor What's on Our Minds here. All right, Smokin' Jim Frazier, what's on your mind?
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. And if you want the green,
Coming at you.
you got to see Levine. and I tell you what, Al Levine, the talking machine.
Yes.
Now, for some honey, I got a reason to go to Avella because Avella High School ain't won a football game in 6 years. They're on a 6-year losing streak.
Disclaimer. Disclaimer. I thought Mr. Negative wouldn't bring up something negative, and Tony at Chick-fil-A, he did it again. This wasn't the race card. This was the negative card.
Hey, I knew a couple people there, Jimmy Floyd and Dominic Frank. They was outstanding football players from Lower Avella High School. But I tell you what, Al Levine, the talking machine, and Chipper.
What?
After Kansas City had 6 turnovers, cost me a lot of money. The Pirates went to 58 wins, so I lost a lot of money. Nick's mom won some Negro wine. I may have to take my first sip. Al Levine, the talking machine. I'm gonna have to drink some of that Negro wine.
I don't know how to actually pronounce it, but it's not neat.
I just have to get an explanation. I'll either ask Nick
Woo!
to spell it out
Give
for
me a
us.
sip.
Because, again, Smokin' Jim has a history of saying he graduated from Gateway
Oh my god.
and really didn't go to school. And he graduated from Cal U with multiple degrees. And he never went to school. So it shows every time. So could you spell what the name of the wine is?
Negro. It really
Negro.
is. What?
Negro.
Yeah, that's probably it. I
Chip, thanks for
I
being
didn't know
the
I was a
mediator.
My mom won a raffle though at the event we were at this weekend. So, but it was
Okay.
it was Negro wine.
It was in a black bottle. Does that give you a hint? but Al Levine, the talking machine, I'm gonna win.
No comment.
I'm gonna win some money back because you inspired me by wearing your Green Bay colors today, Green Bay Packer colors. So I'm gonna lay it out. Al Levine, hey, listen, I'm depressed right now. Al Levine, the talking machine.
Do I have any green on me?
That's that Green Bay gold.
It's just not.
That's that Green Bay gold.
This is yellow.
That's that Green Bay yellow, but on TV it really looks like the Packers. But hey, Al Levine, the talking machine. I took a lot of heat everywhere. You know what I mean? You don't bring me on just because of good looks. You know what I mean? You're the good-looking one. Chip and Nick's the good-looking one.
Smokin' Jim, why are you pumping us all up when you just had the greatest event ever in Pittsburgh history on the Rivers with 25 of your sweeties?
Oh my goodness, it was beautiful.
Yeah, I had to interrupt you on that because you're blowing so much smoke. I can't stand up in this studio.
Yeah.
Now, what happened to you? Now you're not even good looking.
Well, Al Levine, the talking machine, the whole thing is, I said over a year ago that the Pittsburgh Steelers were going to struggle because of the offensive line and offensive line coach and offensive coordinator. This looks like the same offense as before. You got to go all the way back to 1969, Chip, for you to find a Pittsburgh Steelers team this bad. I really didn't realize it was going to be this bad because I didn't know DeCastro was as bad as he was, and I'm a Villanueva fan, and they just got
Who
rid
were
of.
you
I'm
talking
sorry,
about?
Chip.
I just interrupt. It's been a lot more recently than 1969, but touch on that.
Okay.
later.
And how'd you say a year
And-
ago the offensive coordinator was a problem? They just got a new offensive
Well,
coordinator.
the offensive coordinator is horrible.
Hold it. He's still got negative stuff to bring out.
Yeah.
We didn't hear.
Right, yeah.
We didn't hear what it
Just let him
is.
get all the negativity.
Yeah, we didn't.
out.
I got to stop you right
He's
there, Nick.
cleansing himself right now.
You're
Nick-
still rookie on the show, so
Nick-
you got to let him bring everything negative, including his looks, out.
Nick,
Go.
first of all, the offensive coordinator got 30 years experience in college football. Been fired from every job he ever had except for Pitt when he left after 1 year. He goes to LSU. They got the greatest talent ever assembled on a college football team. He couldn't get nothing out of them. They fired him, and the next year they averaged 60 points a game. The quarterback wins the Heisman Trophy, and they break every record in college football. He comes here to the NFL. He has 1 year NFL experience, and they promote him to the offensive coordinator. The offensive is horrible. The offensive line is terrible. I said before the season they moved to Castro to center and put the rookie Green at guard because he never played center
Where's
before.
the Castro at?
Well, he's going. I didn't know he was as hurt as he
Oh,
was.
you're talking in the past.
Yeah, I said before. Yeah, I
When
said
people were mad at you.
in preseason. Yeah,
Okay, we got to clarify.
and before minicamp. Now they got Green getting pushed around. He's making all the line calls, and he never played center before in his life. You know what I mean? They got an offensive guard that they got that was washed up last year. He was great with Carolina, but San Diego Chargers seen that he couldn't play anymore.
You mean the spitter?
Los Angeles Chargers.
Los Angeles Chargers.
Was that the spitter?
The spitter
Okay.
with bad braids. Don Imus don't even like his braids. You got an offensive tackle from Africa. His best sport is soccer. You got a fat slob that got his own radio show that ain't got 2 games experience in this league. He's a biscuit away from 400 pounds. He's the godfather of soul food. Banner, that's all he wants to do is
Smoking
talk
Jim,
trash on
you
everybody.
lost me on some of this. I got to ask the question. Maybe some of you out there want to know. What's the point of what you're saying?
The point is that I'm brokenhearted because I
okay.
don't see a win on their schedule, L. Levine, the talking machine. Do you? Everybody wants to blame Big Ben, but Big Ben ain't even got time to throw it up. There's only 2 good players on the offense, Najee Harris and the best receiver in Steeler history, Chase Claypool. Other than that, they have nothing. I love the kid from Penn State. He adjusts to the ball better than I ever seen the tight end. He got great hands, but he can't move that pitcher off the ball. He's the worst blocking tight
Not
end
John
in Penn
O'Praskak's
State's
straight
history.
picture.
I
don't-
tell you what, it'd be 50-50 between who would win in the blocking battle between him trying to move that pitcher out the hole.
Harry, you mean like this? He can't do that?
And that's what's on my mind.
Thank you,
Worst
Smoking Jim.
Steeler team since 1969. And I'm going to win a lot of money betting against the Steelers this year.
And by the way, he's still good looking.
I'm the only one that had Cincinnati beating Pittsburgh.
Really?
Won money there.
Ron Cook did too.
Okay.
Yeah.
You and Ron Cook.
Oh man, don't get me started. Go ahead.
All right.
Chipper.
Thank you, Smoking Jim, because I could barely follow what the point of it is. And for all you Smoking Jim fans, it is now time for Smoking Jim to eat.
I worked up an appetite.
Chip, what's on your mind?
Well, Jim is brokenhearted, of course,
He can't even eat.
because after somehow Gateway masterminded the firing of Eric Kasparovich, the head coach for Pine Richland, Gateway got their tails whooped last Friday night, right? By Pine Richland. So let's not lose sight of that fact. How much did you have on the Gators that night?
Hold it. Why didn't he even say anything like
Well,
that?
he didn't.
It slipped his mind.
That slipped his mind, yeah.
Thank you, Chip.
And,
We appreciate the honesty
You
here.
know, and because, this cloud of negativity to my left,
Yeah.
that will see the bad in anything good, okay?
I second that emotion.
I am going to enlighten us all with a little positivity. And I'm going to include some positivity that has something to do with the Pittsburgh Pirates organization.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Okay, so last week I talked about the 2 Pirates single A teams.
Yes, you did.
The low A team, Bradenton Marauders, won the championship last week.
Yes.
Okay, and so we've got 1 championship team
In the
Pirates
minors.
minor league system, and tonight in the deciding game 5, against the Tampa Tarpons.
Tarpons.
The Greensboro Grasshoppers go for the championship in Game 5 tonight at 7:35 in Bowling Green. No, they're playing Bowling Green,
Okay.
who is a Tampa Bay Rays minor league affiliate. So
Wow.
we've got another Pirates team playing for a championship tonight. They were up 2-1, fell a little bit short last night. Championship games tonight, 7:35. If you're interested in watching it, MILB TV. The game will be aired at
Wow.
7:35 this evening.
You heard it here first. That's coming up.
So we could have a second championship team in the Pirates organization. But of course, we're never going to hear about that. We're going to hear about Pirates are going to lose 100 games, and they, and so
Sure.
forth, and they don't spend any money. And on the subject of spending money,
Whoa,
you
what a
can
segue.
always follow the San Diego Padres process. They spent hundreds of millions of dollars, and they're not even going to end up as a 500 team this year.
Wow.
They're 78-78 with 6 games left. Okay? They've been eliminated from playoff contention
Wow.
by the St. Louis Cardinals, who have now won 16 games in a row
Unbelievable.
and sewed up the second wild card spot, which means that they may end up playing either the Los Angeles Dodgers or the San Francisco Giants, whomever. Right now
win.
the Dodgers are 2.5. No, they're two. I think a game and a half behind San Francisco. We've got another division race that's being played tonight. Charlie Morton, the Atlanta Braves, is going up against
Who'd he
the
play
Philadelphia
for?
Phillies.
Who did he play for?
Atlanta is up 2.5 games on Philadelphia.
Wow.
In the East Division, either team could win the division. 6 games left. Some meaningful baseball being played there. So
Always great to hear that, Chip.
So I try to think of positive things. We'll talk about the Steelers later. That's what's on my mind.
Whoa, thank you, Chip Hayner. All right, Nick Callis, what's on your mind?
Chip brought up a thought in my head now.
Chip, thank you.
The Padres spent a lot of money, and they're not going to make playoffs for 78 and 78. They just got eliminated. The Pirates got eliminated like 5 games into the season. So.
In April.
Yeah,
It was late
they're
April.
just done. No, that's fine. No, I mean, excited about the Pirates organization. No, I have hope about the Pirates now. I really do. Like seeing all the success in the minor leagues, I do. I still think that they need to spend something on an established veteran in the offseason. I'm still on the Yoshi Tsutsugo train. Sign him for a little bit before any other team can get to him. Yes.
Okay, Nick.
Moving on to working at 93.7 The Fan has allowed me to have more appreciation for Pitt football. Apparently it's exciting that they're 3-1 now after winning this past weekend. It's pretty exciting. I've gained some appreciation for that because I cover
You
their
know,
games.
there's a lot of Pitt fans in Pittsburgh.
I realize that. That's why
Okay.
I'm going to mention it because I honestly didn't follow college sports too much, but now my job's kind of leaning me that way. And
Didn't you
pretty
just
exciting.
graduate from Waynesburg and announce sports? You might have to change that.
it was D3. Let's just keep that on the down low.
Okay.
Not bigger,
Between you and
Normal
me,
schools,
between you and me, it was D3.
Nick, may I make an observation?
Yeah.
And you'll learn this the longer that you're involved in Pittsburgh sports. Of course, after the first week, the Steelers are going to the Super Bowl.
Yes!
The last 2 weeks, they're never going to win another game.
I was going to mention something about the Steelers, but we'll save it for.
And Pitt, after they lost to Western Michigan, were never going to win another game. And then they destroyed UNH
Right.
by 70 points. So now all of a sudden,
Champions.
Pitt is it again. Do you
I
see
don't
what
I
I'm
don't have
saying?
as strong of an opinion. I honestly thought fans were reacting a little bit too dramatically about that. Fire Narduzzi, etc. Just relax. In terms of the Steelers, though, they're going to the Super Bowl, or maybe not. No, they got to fire everybody. We'll talk about the Steelers, though. I mean, I'll save that because I'm sure we'll have the
Nick,
Steelers
just a
talk
little
segment.
disclaimer. You have to officially change your prediction because you put up a banner that I say created a jinx on their first game.
I guess you could blame me.
And you drove Smoking Jim insane that day.
And
with
ask
a,
Jim about jinxes.
yeah, that's why I'm bringing it up. Thanks, Chip. Yeah, because he's discovered them everywhere. Has no proof.
Smoking Jim's
But
amateur,
I'm
bro.
declaring you're the jinx on Pittsburgh Sports Line.
Oh, goodness.
You put the kibosh on the Steelers.
I'm the scapegoat. That's not good.
Well, thank you for your insight on there. What's on my mind? I've watched the Steelers. I became a fan of the Steelers when they drafted Mean Joe Green. Never was really a fan of them growing up. The Packers were my team
Yes, sir.
growing up. So I don't know what Smoking Jim's talking about or eating, but how's that meal from Pasta 2 right down the street? Can you share what you're chewing on while we're talking?
Hot sausage sandwich.
Again, you're hooked on that. Very good. And we appreciate you supporting Bethel Park restaurants like Kentucky Fried Chicken and Pasta 2.
And, oh, by the way,
Yes.
Mean Joe Green celebrated his 75th birthday.
That's
last
why I
week.
brought it up. That's when I became a Steeler fan. When I saw a guy kicking, hitting people, trying to win games, throwing his helmet and everything else, I became a fan. And then the rest is history with after they got Bradshaw and Franco. It changed where we all became spoiled Steeler fans, me included, with all the winning we had. Whatever the curse of Art Rooney was that Smoking Jim didn't discover, because 40-some years of losing and then 40-some years of winning, I'll take the winning anytime. But I watched one of the worst games that I've seen, and I won't mention how many years because Chip and I talked, but I do remember a year that started off worse than this, and somehow we made it to the playoffs. I'll just give you a tease with that.
I was at the game, both games.
Well, you were...
I will give the details later.
Yes, and that's why I'm leaving it up to Chip. But I played center on my high school team, as a starting center, and I watch the line all the time. And I saw a group of guys that their first step is after the defensive guy goes past them. And we used to kid around that the guy blocked like a rusty gate, squeaking. And that's what reminded me watching the game with my son. I watched the whole game because I'm hopeful, and I was hopeful that Ben would have a little more than 2 seconds to pass. But then I saw these guys climbing all over him, and in the backfield, after they said hut, one, or whatever, they were there. Then I heard a stat today that 70% of the times that Najee Harris touches the ball, he was being hit by a defensive player in the backfield. Now, just hold 70%.
Wow.
That means you have no chance to even go to the line of scrimmage, yet Najee did a couple times, and he had 14 catches. So he shows that he is a good player in spite of this. And I think the Steelers didn't give up. They tried the whole time, but they have so many deficiencies, not only in the team, but in the coaching, where you're supposed to get your players prepared, and you're supposed to know your players and the plays. So to me, if you're having trouble with blocking, you have to have a double team. You need to bring in a fullback. You need 2 tight ends. You need something to try to block. Chip.
If the Steelers' offensive line would not have committed as many holding penalties, Najee Harris would have broken the Steelers' receiving record for a single game, which was held by Antonio Brown.
Wasn't there 3 plays like that?
That would have gained 15 to 20 yards on each of them that all got called back, which were drive killers.
What's the record?
17 catches.
By who?
Antonio Brown.
All right.
Smoking Jim, you
You
weren't
already knew
negative.
that.
Yeah.
You already knew that.
No, I
You
didn't.
just,
Smoking Jim is like, no offense to my lawyer friends, they're taught to ask questions that they know the answer to. And we know Smoking Jim went to Gateway and Cal U. So we question anything that he's asking or talking about, even though he watches at least one.
I gotta disagree with one thing you said.
What?
They did quit. Tyler Boyd said they quit.
oh, please.
You know
Tyler
what?
Boyd? What has Tyler Boyd done since he left Clarendon?
He was on the field.
Nothing.
He was on the field. He seen the look in their
He
eyes.
hasn't played on a single Cincinnati Bengals team that's had a winning record.
He seen the
Tyler
yellow.
Boyd needs to
He
just
seen
shut
the
up.
yellow in their
Well,
eyes.
since he's been on the team,
All right,
Bengals
enough
won
of,
twice.
enough of this discussion. And Smoking Jim, the only thing I can say is the first time I met him and the last time I've talked to him, his famous line is, "I'm an honest man." And we'll be back with some fiction and fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac.
Steelers show blitz. He throws the pass up. It's going to be picked up. James Harrison has it. He's running up the sideline. 25, 30.
Hi, I'm Kathy Moscato, Bethel Park Assistant Recreation Director, and I'm excited to tell you that No Cook Tuesdays will be returning to the Community Center Playground parking lot October 5th, running from 4 to 7 p.m. through November 23rd. No Cook Tuesdays will bring you a variety of food vendors every Tuesday, so you can come and pick up your dinner and not have to cook. Looking forward to seeing you here on Tuesdays, 4 to 7 p.m.
Are you ready for Halloween fun and festivities? Here in Bethel Park, we're gearing up for all of our spooktacular Halloween traditions. Mark your calendars now for the 3rd annual Halloween decorating contest from October 23rd to the 31st. The 2nd annual Halloween parade at 9 a.m. on Saturday, October 30th. And trick-or-treating on October 31st from 6 to 8 p.m. Want to participate in the parade? Contact Susan Dolinar at sdolinar@bethelpark.net or call her at 412-831-6800, extension 301. Watch for full details on all of these events to be announced early October, including new Halloween parade routes.
Steelers show blitz. He throws the pass up. It's going to be picked up. James Harrison has it. He's running up the sideline. 25, 30.
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. And I tell you what, in lieu of the time, I'm going to pass my time on the chip. I want to hear about this team that's worse than these bums I'm seeing out there on Sunday.
I forgot to do this in my opening segment, but we've got to pay tribute to a Pittsburgh sports great who really never even played any sports, who passed away on Friday, who probably had more to do with the developments in sports medicine than anybody else, and the passing of Dr. Freddie Fu.
Oh, yeah.
He passed away on Friday. His funeral will be on Thursday this week.
Oh, man.
But he has done more to advance the science of sports medicine than anybody else. And unfortunately, he passed from cancer.
How old was he?
71 years old.
That's young.
And I had
71
friends that studied under him that are doctors.
Well, I've had relatives that were operated on by him.
Same with me.
You know,
Yes.
and I wanted to bring that up because I'll be soon going in for knee surgery myself, replacement surgery in November, and it's sad to hear of his passing. But the advances that have been made in science because of him, we got to take a moment to reflect. So, Jim, as always, takes every opportunity he can to lambaste the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I will say this: that was one of the most painful games that I've watched the Steelers play in quite some time. They're probably not the worst ever, but it was tough. That was a very sloppily played game. And the interesting thing is that as badly as the defense played, the Steelers were in a position they could have won that game if there would have been any kind of competence on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, they only gave up 24 points.
James Washington catching a touchdown pass?
Well, anybody.
That's just one. He had the chance.
But that all being said, before everybody like Jim takes the shovel and buries the Steelers, which he already has, he's already chiseling the headstone for them. The 2021 season, rest in peace, right? Pittsburgh Steelers. I go back 32 years.
Oh, yeah.
32 years ago, the Pittsburgh Steelers. This was in the 1989 season, and Jim brought this up. The Steelers started off this season. It was a franchise's 57th season. They were considered a rebuilding team filled with many young players. Sound familiar? especially after the release of longtime center Mike Webster. Do you see some parallels here? In the offseason, the young team showed its inexperience in the first game of the season when they lost at home to arch rival Cleveland Browns 51-0. This loss marked the Steelers' worst defeat in franchise history. The following week wasn't much better, losing 41-10 to another division rival, the Cincinnati Bengals. However, the Steelers clinched the final playoff spot in the last week of the season with a 9-7 record. Chuck Noll, in his 21st season as the team's head coach, was named the NFL's Coach of the Year for the only time in his coaching career. Right. Not once when he won Super Bowls. In the first round of the playoffs, the Steelers would have a memorable come-from-behind overtime victory over their other division rival, the Houston Oilers, 26-23, which saw Gary Anderson kicking a game-winning 50-yard field goal in the extra period. The following week against the Denver Broncos at Mile High Stadium, before losing 24-23 on a Melvin Bratton 1-yard touchdown run with 2:22 left in the game. Though the Steelers would not make the playoffs again under Chuck Noll, missing in 1990 with an identical 9-7 record, and at and again in 1991 at 7-9, despite a second-place finish that year, the season did set the tone for the team's return to prominence in the 1990s under his successor, Bill Cowher.
Say it again!
Who won with Chuck Noll's players.
Thank you, Chip. Very good, Chip.
So, as dismal as it may seem today, there is hope.
No questions from Mr. Negative.
Just one. It's not negative. It's
Okay.
positive. I don't know why the article didn't mention. I guess there's a little reverse discrimination in the article. But the guy who made a name for themselves in those two playoff games was none other than Merrill Hodge.
Merrill Hodge, exactly.
100 yards in each game.
Well, that was Wikipedia, so it wasn't. There was no bias in it. That was a Wikipedia.
You have to explain Wikipedia, Tim, because he doesn't know what you even mean.
I know Smokepedia.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And I'll just share that's not truthful.
But yes, Merrill Hodge made a name for himself. And who was the rookie running back who made the Steelers drafted with the 8th pick in the draft out of the University of Georgia?
Worley, Tim Worley.
Tim Worley, and he was busy snorting the 50-yard line.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was.
So much for history. Thank you, Chip Hayner. We'll go to Nick Callis now.
Tampa Bay Rays and the Toronto Blue Jays are playing each other. There's a play at the plate. Kevin Kiermaier slid into the catcher, and his signed wristband came off. Well, the runner slid into the plate. Kiermaier knocked off the wristband with the signs, realized that the signs were just laying there on the dirt, decided to pick them up. Now, he claims in his press conference when he got asked about it that he's just done with it. He thought it was his, etc. I think he lied. But it brings up the question. It brings up the question because you watch him when you break it down. He was like sneaking it to his coach. It was hilarious how much he was trying to like hide that he had these. But it brings up the question: is it okay to steal a team's signs on a piece of paper when you have the opportunity? And I'm going to say the answer is yes. Wow. That is totally fine. If you lose your papers, if you don't have them, if you don't realize that they're there, and you want to take the risk to put all the answers to your pitches on a piece of paper, then you got to protect those. So it's not the catcher's fault. Kirk, I think it was Alejandro Kirk for the Blue Jays who dropped them. But, every time, if I were catching, and we did this in Waynesburg too, where we had a wristband of signs and stuff to call pitches, I'd make sure that was on my wrist all the time. And the coaches made us make sure that we counted every single wristband, every single piece of paper all the time. So if you lose them and it's there for Kiermaier to take or any runner to take if it's on the ground, take it. That's fine. Give yourself an advantage or make another team have to try to come up with a new system. Yeah.
Baseball has unwritten rules.
Right.
What's the unwritten rule on that?
That's what I'm saying. I don't know if there is an
I
unwritten
just
rule.
wanted to clarify.
Yeah, I don't know if there is an unwritten
But,
rule.
You know, there are unwritten rules, but you know what? There are also written rules.
Yes.
Does anybody remember which one Pete Rose violated?
Yes.
Rule 21, paragraph D.
Oh, jeez. What's the question?
I gotta go to the guy that knows more baseball than any young guy I ever met.
You don't know too many young guys that know baseball.
How many
And I'm not
Just
young.
a clarification.
And I'm not young.
how many pitches can they throw? I mean,
As many as
is there
possible.
4 pitches? He
Usually
can't
no more
remember
than-
the numbers of 4 pitches.
Most pitchers in Major League Baseball have 4. Usually no more than 5.
So he can't remember that. He need to write them down.
No. But like when a catcher gives a sign, when the dugout gives a sign to the catcher, usually they'll like flash a bunch of numbers, and it'll be like some kind of sequence, and then the wristband tells you what sequence.
now I
Explain the
understand.
sequence.
Now I understand.
So like if I gave you a 2, a 1, and a 5, it would be on the wristband. 2, 1, 5
I
equals
got you. That makes sense.
right.
I couldn't get the.
And that's simple. They're usually more complicated than just that. But yeah, steal the signs. If you want to risk having a piece of paper that tells you the signs, and you lose them, you're allowed to steal them. Kevin Kiermaier did nothing wrong. He lied, but he did nothing wrong. All right. Ed,
There's one thing people talk about sportsmanship. There's something that's going around Facebook. Maybe I'm the only one that didn't like it. Some receiver caught cramps, and the defensive back from the other team stretched him out.
Yeah.
He'd be benched for the rest of his life with me. He'd never play again.
Where'd that come from?
Thank you, Smoking Jim. We're going to get back to him in a minute. Thank you, Nick. Appreciate your insights. Sorry I tried to pull a technicality, but there are so many unwritten rules. I wanted
I don't
to
know any of that though, because paper wasn't used in baseball too much on field before
Understood.
this.
But I thought you might have been curious and might have asked somebody.
Was there an unwritten rule about that?
No,
Okay.
I
That's
can
it.
help you.
I'm done.
Yeah, that's how simple it is, see? All right, thank you, Nick. On location, we don't have much happening. October 9th, get ready for USS Fight Academy, 1712 North Lincoln Highway, North Versailles. So we'll be out there at 6 o'clock. Smoking Jim and I will be doing it. We'll find out if we have a cameraman, but we'll figure something out then. But that's our on location. And since Smoking Jim's been so wimpy lately and just eating and deferring on fiction and fact, I'm pulling the disclaimer card out. We have the section, and it's called Fiction and Fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac. So if you can put the graphic up, let's hear some fiction and fact from Smoking Jim, because he didn't prepare, because I
I'm
know his
always
style.
prepared. I'm always prepared.
He's going to make stuff up, in other words, but he had to eat. So we're going to go to Fiction and Fact with Smoking Jim Frazier now.
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. And I tell you what, if you guys
Go ahead.
want to come out on Friday, October 22nd, Outback Steakhouse in God's Country, Monroeville,
Yeah.
there'll be Manny Sanguian and Al Oliver.
And why
And
are
if you-
they there?
And if you can't make it then, you come back Saturday at noon, and we'll be interviewing Al Oliver where he's staying at the Doubletree Hotel in Monroeville for the Willie Stargell MVP
Hold it.
banquet.
How much do we have to pay to go?
Well, anytime you guys are hanging with me, it's free, but for everybody else, it's $50.
I'll be
So-
there
and
because
that
I'm your
goes-
friend.
And we'll raise a lot of money for toys for the kids. But Nick will be there. He'll be interviewing Al Oliver. And
Tell Al Oliver I said hello.
well, I'll let Manny Sanguian tell him that.
Why?
Have Manny tell him that Al Levine, the talking machine, said hello.
No,
Oh,
I
we
know
will.
Al.
I know you know. I'm just
He
joking.
even called in on our show.
Because Manny's English.
I
after
don't
all
like
these
you
years ain't
making
that
fun
good.
of Manny.
How come? How come?
I don't like that.
I'm not making fun. I said he can't speak the English good.
Hence, I don't like that.
I know Manny's not in the best of
He's
health
in a
lately.
wheelchair. He'll be
Yeah,
there.
he's not in the best of health.
Is he confined to a wheelchair or just in the wheelchair?
No, he's in the wheelchair. When I was there for the ceremony celebrating the 1971 World Series champions, the members that were still alive, Roberto's two sons helped Manny get up to address the
Yeah,
crowd
I saw
when
that.
they announced him. Because Roberto and Manny were best friends, and I thought it was a very poignant moment when Roberto's two sons walked over to Manny and they said, "Look, we got you," and they each helped Manny up, and
Yeah.
he got to get his.
And
due
I've met
respect.
Manny a couple times at PNC Park.
I go down to his barbecue all the time, and
Well,
he's
played against-
down there signing autographs for anybody that'll put anything in front of
Well,
him.
I
Yes.
think
I played
Roberto.
against his grandson once in a baseball league, so that's pretty
There
cool.
you go.
Well, I think
seen a
it's
couple
just my opinion. I think Roberto Clemente's two sons get a little bit too much ink, but
Smoking
anybody
Jim.
could have helped them up.
Oh,
I mean,
Lord.
I don't even know why they were on the field. They had nothing to do with 71. But anyhow,
Is this
yes,
in the
they did,
almanac,
Because
or-
they had Willie Stargell's wife was there, and
That's what I was gonna ask.
and a number of the other players that had passed, their loved ones were there, their children,
Okay.
their parents, So yeah.
okay, well you may be right on that occasion,
no,
I'm not
Smoking
maybe,
Jim.
I am
but their
right.
He
face
is
pops up a little bit
Smoking
too
Jim.
much for me.
He is right because that's how it was.
I wasn't at the
and
game.
Smoking Jim, what's this fiction and fact that you're talking about these events? Usually you tell us about the high school player of the week, the running back of the week, your sweetie of the day.
Your
Well, I
degree.
want-
The
Kelly,
Pine
you-
I
Richland
wanna
player
give you-
that stabbed Gateway in the heart.
I want to hear what
The
happened to
Gators got-
Gateway.
I'm gonna wrap this up real quick here,
How?
and you may be able to help me out, Al Levine, the talking machine.
I'll try.
The boat ride on the Gateway Clipper fleet was a huge success. It was a sellout crowd. 25 of the who's who young ladies. But I tell you what, Al Levine, the talking machine, here's how you can help us out. Because I got in a little argument with Mr. Neal and Nick. And Nick kind of straightened me out on some things.
Yeah.
And I got to straighten him out now.
Oh.
Al Levine, the talking machine. When you and I show up to do boxing, it's chaotic. We don't got no fight card. We just make the best of it.
Right.
I feel like if you're going to award, Mr. Neal feels like you should cut down on the bios because nobody cares about their accomplishment. Well, they do, and the people that they brought, family and friends, care.
Yeah.
Nick shares in Mr. Neal's sentiment. So all the
What do you mean? He
No.
agrees that.
so all the bios that Nick did, we cut them down. Of course, I read mine in the entirety. So what do you guys think? If I'm awarding Chip for his accomplishments, shouldn't I read the bio? Because it's Chip's day.
Well, I'll just tell you this much, Smoking
I will
Jim.
have to. I think
You
I'm
did
not-
bring up
I
Chip, so go
I
ahead.
think I'm leaning towards Smoking Jim on
Thanks-
this one.
Thanks, Chip.
But he's not
It's not
presented.
often that I agree with Smoking Jim.
Well,
but this time,
here's what
I
I'll
do.
share with it, because some people like to talk a lot about things at events, and people just want to hear and see certain things. So if you have a one page, I found out in doing different events, if you have a one page of all their accomplishments, one page that are double spaced, you can cover almost everything they've done.
Yes.
If you're talking about how Smoking Jim adds things in and goes
Chip.
3-4 different stories out
Yeah,
there.
you mean like a top 10 that has 18?
Yes, yes.
Chip.
That's my point.
The bios were 3 pages single spaced.
Not all of them.
If your opinion changes on that, bios were 3 pages, a little bit of fluff, single space.
Smoking Jim, I'm saying
If
one
you're not
single
under the
double spaced page.
limitations
Okay.
of
Top to bottom.
television, but hey,
No, because you want to put people's highlights, and I know some people are humble. Unlike Smoking Jim, they're humble, so they don't want to hear all these accomplishments. So if you do a single sheet without a lot of extra, I think that would
And
make
let me
very
read it over,
simple.
a little bit before the
And-
event. Just,
Well, Nick, here's the one thing that I don't know. I'm innocent on this, but a lot of times we don't prepare for anything, and we're pretty quick, and we know what we're talking about, so we're able to cover, like what Smoking Jim says with boxing and others, because we've seen them fight. But when you're doing an event where somebody like Nick just graduated college with his degrees, unlike you say, and you tell him, we're going to do bios, and then you don't have bios for him to do, what's a young man supposed to do? This
He
is
had
me
the bio.
guessing.
He had the bio.
When?
15 minutes before the presentation.
I rest my case. I rest my
But
case.
you can't get a college degree without being able to read. All you gotta do is read it.
Did you read the text messages I sent you that said send me the bios?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad we could cover this.
He did.
I'm glad we got to the truth. Sorry, folks.
But let me end with a pat on the back.
You
to
were
Nick.
making this quick. You just went 10
I'm
more
sorry.
minutes.
Let me just let me end it with a pat on the back with Nick. Nick did make sense because Nick is a type of guy. He learned in college. He likes to be prepared, and I have to learn how to be a little bit more prepared
No.
and less stubborn.
Just like I am for the show here.
Yeah.
Al, if you're going to honor somebody, you should know how to...
Let me just clarify this. I've known Smoking Jim for about 10 years and a month, and he's told me, hey, Machine, you've taught me so much. I never knew this. I never knew that. And I started to wonder after the second year how he could keep telling me the same thing. So for 10 years, here's what I do. I listen to it, but I know he's not going to change. I told him he's stubborn and he won't quit. I told him that he's on a little different schedule than the rest of us. And I also told him, and my fans, I'm not picking on him, but he's naive at times about stuff that he doesn't know. And he's also been in the last 2-3 years, I hate to say it, he's a great guy, one of the best in media, great smile when you can see it, and a positive guy generally, but he's become so negative that we have these discussions because he's enjoying his meals too much. And look how he wanted to skip out on Fiction and Fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac again. And he keeps deferring to Chip, who he likes busting his you-know-whats. So I rest my case on something that wasn't short. Let's wrap this up with some Steelers with 5 minutes
Okay.
on
Pick
what
me.
we all think.
Pick me. Ooh.
Okay, Nick, we'll start with you.
All right, and I'll make this base claim. So I think that the Ben Roethlisberger struggling, clearly, because he's not young anymore and he can't move around the pocket. So the offensive line is definitely exploited because they're really bad because he's getting sacked, but he's getting sacked because he can't get out of the pocket anymore. And I also think that Matt Canada's not getting the greatest chance to blossom his own offense because Ben Roethlisberger, I think, has a big pull on how the Steelers call their offense and how their offense happens. So I don't necessarily want to blame one of them necessarily. I just don't think that they work well together.
Can it be all of them?
Sure. I mean, no, they're all responsible in some capacity, but I don't want to say, okay, yeah, if we get rid of Ben, that's going to solve anything, or Matt Canada's terrible, fire him. That's not necessarily going to be the answer, but I think that, we've got to...
You're entitled to your opinion, and you watch the games. We're going to go to Chip and get his opinion.
And
also,
after the Steelers beat the Packers this Sunday,
Oh my.
yeah, I'm gonna stick my neck out there because you know what? I'm gonna be the only voice of positivity. So the Steelers, they played an awful game, and
Yes.
that was last week. Okay, they're gonna put in a good week of practice this week. This week's a different story. Look at the Green Bay Packers, 38-3. Aaron Rodgers looked like a bum. Okay, couldn't do anything the first week of the season. What do you do the next week?
Next 2 weeks.
Okay.
good point, Chip.
Next.
Smoking Jim,
The
smoking.
Steelers are going to get all of their stars back on defense. T.J. Watt's going to play. Highsmith is going to play. They're gonna run Aaron Rodgers ragged in
Smith
the
is a
pocket.
star.
Sure he is.
I guess in his mama's eyes.
Chip, thank you for that. Smoking Jim, I know you have an opinion or a couple.
Well,
And I know you're not a Tomlin fan, so when he put it on the players, I know you took offense to
One in
that.
16 is what Jim said.
Yes.
Well, listen.
Thank you, Chip.
Not till maybe a worse coach is Bill Austin. I'm not sure Coach Tomlin
Whoa.
is wrestling with Bill Austin right now. Hey, listen, if you had an experienced offensive line coach, the first thing he'd have said is, we can't win with these guys. They went out and got some guys. You know what I mean? You got a fullback that can't block just because his last name is Watt. He's making $4 million a year. He's getting smashed back there. You got tight ends. You got one black tight end that can't block or catch. And then you got the white guy that you won't throw to. He may got the best hands in the league. And I tell you what, Al Levine, the talking machine, you got a bunch of running backs. Why are you going to take the chance of getting your franchise running back hurt? They never take him out of the game. And he's getting, like Chip said, 70% of the time he's getting hit in the
I
backfield.
said that.
So,
He said-
did you say that?
Yeah,
Well, we're white.
Yeah, y'all all look alike.
Yeah, we all look alike.
But hey, Al Levine, the talking machine, we miss a field goal because we got a black holder. You can't trust them, brother. They don't want to get their fingers kicked.
Hold
And-
it. I heard
What?
one good
They don't
report.
want to get their nails broken.
Smoking Jim, you're pulling the race card out. I have to pull it out on you that I heard a couple people compliment the punting of I usually don't say black or white kicker, but our black kicker.
That was average putting at best.
Now that's Smoking Jim's negative opinion
He
again.
outpunched Charlie Brown.
Again, Charlie Brown never kicked the ball. She always moved the ball. Come on.
So,
All right, we'll
we
get
picked the
serious,
Steelers
Chip.
around. Penguins played their first preseason game yesterday. Anybody know that?
No,
Yes.
I didn't.
Yeah, and they lost 3-0. And is really anybody paying any attention to the Pittsburgh Penguins right now?
Yes.
No.
Jari let in one goal.
Because Sid isn't playing. Evgeny Malkin isn't playing. I mean, and how many people line up to see Chris Letang play?
You don't even know who he is.
No, I was going to say Yager's still playing. Did you know that? At like 50 years old.
Yeah, in
I'm
Czechoslovakia.
so
And the
proud
only
of him.
reason why, because
It's his team.
Is he playing for the
because
Penguins?
he owes the Czechoslovakian mafia money, and he has to keep playing to keep the team.
Well, he's the
solvent.
greatest I ever seen. He's
You
the greatest I
didn't
ever
tell
seen.
us how many games you've actually watched of hockey.
I went to a lot of games when Yager played, but that was before the Mew was done. Then he came back from cancer.
Smoking Jim.
and go.
Where did the Penguins used to play?
Huh?
Where the Penguins used to play?
The Igloo.
Duquesne Gardens.
That might right.
Civic Arena, he
Civic
wanted
Arena,
Smoking
yeah,
Jim.
the
Or the
Igloo.
Mellon Arena.
Like you were ever even in the
But,
igloo. I was in
but
there.
at the Duquesne Gardens, it was the Pittsburgh Hornets that played there.
I was
not
in
the-
that
not the
igloo and Smoking Jim, I was there. You just heard about it. You have no clue. You thought it was up in Alaska. But hey, I want to thank everybody for tuning in and watching. We appreciate you out there supporting us. We'll be back again with Facebook Live next week. And keep tuning in, and you can hear all this. You know, we're all opinionated, but we like to have fun, and nobody's mad at one another. Well, maybe, but, you know, we'll work that out. So please stay Joey strong.